Welcome to our WEdebate session, in which we will look at one of the most important questions. What do women entrepreneurs need to thrive in their business? What are their limits? What are still the burden? And I'm very happy that we are here today again. Welcome back to the WEgate Summit. Thomas Cooney, who is the Professor of Entrepreneurship at the Technological University of Dublin. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you.
And I also welcome Helle Neergaard, Professor of Entrepreneurship and Head of Section at the Department of Management at the Aarhus University. Good morning, Helle.
Good morning, thank you.
And Dr. Alice Martin. She is the co-founder and CEO of Dermanostic in Germany. Good morning, Alice.
Morning.
And I hand over the floor to you, Thomas, to present the results of the WEbarometer this morning.
Okay, thank you, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to this panel discussion around the results of the WEbarometer survey, which took place across Europe throughout the months of June, July, and August. There was 316 valid responses from 25 different countries, and I suppose the purpose of this conversation with our panelists is to tease out some of the results that arise from this year's survey. I should highlight that both Helle and Alice were not involved in the survey. So, basically this discussion is I'll draw out some of the key results and invite Helle and Alice to give their thoughts on why these results might have happened. So let me begin, if I may, Helle. I'm going to start with you because one of the things that constantly crops up relating to women's entrepreneurship is why women start a business. Is it because of necessity or because of opportunity? And the results this year showed that #1 place for both pre-startup respondents and post-startup. I should explain that we separated respondents into those who were looking to start up a business and those who had already started. But for both sets of respondents, the #1 reason was identified a business opportunity. So it was a positive. But at #2 and #3, the reasons were better work-life balance and greater flexibility to work around family responsibilities. So those were our 1, 2, 3 with both pre-startup and post-startup. As a colleague said to me regarding greater flexibility to work around family responsibilities featuring so highly, a colleague said, I doubt that would have been so high if the survey was of male entrepreneurs, and then added, I'm not sure it would even have been in the questionnaire. So Helle, what are your thoughts on that as a 1, 2, 3?
I'm actually a little bit surprised to see identified as a business opportunity as #1. Because in my experience in working with women entrepreneurs, it is very, very much, trying to have a business, and matching it with the needs of the family. So basically, I'm very happy to see identifying a business opportunity as #1. And I can certainly understand that there are these other issues, and that is it's very often a hard life to be a woman, because still, even in these days, and I gave a talk yesterday about women entrepreneurs, and they say, oh well, the young men are getting better. Yes, they are getting better at taking their part of the care work at home, but it is still very much a woman's responsibility. So if she does want to start a business, it has to be tailored around the family.
Actually, Helle, Helle, sorry, if I may just add in there, I read an OECD report last night on entrepreneurship policies through a gender lens, and one of the points made was that women entrepreneurs spend in excess of 6 hours per day on family-related responsibilities. Over 25% of women spend more than 6 hours per day
Yes.
on family responsibilities, whereas for men the figure was much lower. It was about 10%.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to have this greater flexibility, but you also want to fulfill your needs to start a business and your wishes to do so, right? So you can have both. I identified a business opportunity as number one, but that's probably in combination with I also want greater flexibility. Then I can get in my employed work, because we should not forget that most of these women, as the survey also shows, actually come from employed work. They're not unemployed. So it is opportunity and not necessity for most of them. So when you're in employed work, there are certain restrictions. You have to be there at a certain time in the morning. You have to go home at a certain time at night, and meetings where their place is not always tailored to the fact that you have a family. So being an entrepreneur allows you to control these things. And we should not forget either that women have very good ideas. They are very, very highly educated, in many countries more highly educated than the men. So they have the qualifications that it takes to start a business. So why not?
Okay. Alice, what are your thoughts on those 1, 2, 3 as an entrepreneur? Would you think?
I totally agree. So
the entrepreneurial world.
Yes, I totally agree with Helle, because she said most of the women are employees, so they already have the opportunity, but they want to create something special, as well as the men. So I think we are the same in some way, but there aren't the opportunities for the next steps. And work-life balance, this is a very important fact, but from my experience, we are 2 female entrepreneurs in 2 different startups, and we are working much more than before, but we can, we are like our own time managers. So it's possible, for example, my co-founder was pregnant, and when she gave birth to the child, she could work at 3 o'clock in the night. So no one expected that this could work, but it's working. And we are having an online dermatological residence, so she could treat patients in the night. And if we are seeing these opportunities, then it's possible and something this is better for everyone, also for the patients, for example. And I think this is very important. And the last thing, the family, yes, the responsibility is possible. She can work from home now. This wasn't possible before because she was working in a hospital. You can't go to work to the hospital with your child. But now working from home, being your own boss, it's possible. And I think this is something very important. So we can manage it as well as the man, but we need the opportunity and also that someone is believing that it's possible.
Actually, Alice, you raise a point there that cropped up in the survey, because this year we asked a question that we didn't ask last year about maternity legislation and how supportive it was, in people's home country. And there was a very strong rejection of the suggestion that maternity leave legislation is supportive of women starting a business in their country. What do you think governments could do to address this?
Yes, I think when you are getting a child, then this is like a startup. It's a new project. So it's the same. If you are having a child or a startup at the beginning, it needs your 100% time and everything that you can do. And this is why it's difficult now. You are having your child, it needs 100%, and you are having a startup. And you are having like 200% of work. This is why it's difficult to use this time. It's possible, but it's difficult. And I have seen it. Estefania has done it this way, and she is saying she's missing the time with the child. But of course, she's thankful because it's not only 1 year that she can be with her child, she can also stay the next years with the child. So I think it's changing. yeah, what can we change for the women? I think in other countries, you can take off a year and you are getting your money, and you can do whatever you want, like a sabbatical, but you could also try to do a startup. And I think this is something that maybe we could do also for women to support them, instead of taking the time 1 year with a child, because this is also something very important. And we should not mix these two things.
Okay, and Helle, if I can follow that with you as well, because in a previous conference that I spoke at, where this issue around maternity legislation arose, one entrepreneur said, look, it doesn't matter if you increase maternity leave for an entrepreneur, because I'm still going to go back to my business, because if I don't, my business won't exist in a year. What are your thoughts around changing maternity legislation?
I think the first thing we have to remember is that maternity legislation is very different in the different European countries, right? So there is not one policy across all countries. And in Denmark in general, at least for employees, we are extremely lucky, and in the Scandinavian countries or across the Scandinavian countries. But there are many countries where they don't have the kind of legislation that we do with very long maternity leaves for women. Now, the problem with those long maternity leaves is exactly that if you go on maternity leave, then you can't have your business, because the state is going to pay for you to be on maternity leave. So you can't run your business at the same time. Now, I believe that the legislation has changed a little here in Denmark, so that you can actually work part-time, like 25% in your business and still be on leave, so that you can take care of your business. But as Alice says, then you're working, you have to work more, right? Because you want to give your baby 100% of your attention, and you have to in the start. But you also have your other baby that has to have an equal amount, or you really want to give it an equal amount of attention. So it's not an easy solve, right? And so even if the policies are put in place that enables women to take care of the business, policymakers have to remember that women will actually still work 200%, right? So anything that they can do to help women in this situation, and I guess that they still want us to have children, they put it in place. You talked about tax incentives. You could also say, well, perhaps give less leave, but over a longer period of time, so that women can work 50% and have 50% maternity leave, but instead of having it over a year, then having it over 2 years. Okay. And also, I would say one thing that could solve it, and has got nothing to do with policymakers, is to help women start businesses as teams. Women typically start on their own, and it does create a lot of problems. So for the women, I would say, please do think about starting together with other people.
And just on that, about governments encouraging women entrepreneurs into kind of particular pathways, let's say, one of the strong results again from the survey was that enterprise support agencies rated very poorly, and women favored women's business networks far more strongly, than enterprise agencies. And I suppose I've got two questions on that. One is, what could enterprise agencies be doing to become more attractive, for women entrepreneurs? And secondly, what should governments be doing? Helle, I'll come back.
I think I'll repeat myself from previous years here and other talks. Government agencies, enterprise agencies, they need to become more gender sensitive. And I think that's the number one on my list. So the stories that I hear is often that women go down to the enterprise agencies and they meet men who don't understand them. They don't understand their business ideas. So, you know, why would women, for example, want to create a menstruation cup? You know, this very, very woman oriented business idea. The worst example I have is a Danish woman who wanted she had a very good business idea. She wanted to expand it. And the enterprise agent, he patted her on the back and said, oh, well, little you, I don't think this has a very much life beyond, you know, your own little area. So just go home and be satisfied. And I talked to her and said, look, what you have is a McDonald's business model. You should make a franchise. So with that in her hand, she went back to the enterprise agency and said, this is what I want to do. You have to help me. And she now has a thriving business with a franchise. So women don't actually know the possibilities that there are for various business models. And two, you know, they need to, the enterprise agencies really need to get out of the starting holes and become more gender aware and gender sensitive.
Alice, what are your thoughts and what were your experiences?
I think we could combine that. The most important thing is, why do we go to networks, to women's business networks? Because we want their experience. We are going the same way. And it's much easier for me to hear, oh, they had this kind of difficulties. If I'm going to, for example, an agency, they can tell me about that, but they didn't feel it. They didn't feel these problems. They didn't handle it on their own. This is why we are reading autobiographies. We want to know how the person felt in this situation. And this would be great if we could make like a big network where we are combining the agencies, the networks, maybe also the man's perspective, because it's very sometimes like a refreshing reminder. We have to be more confident, sorry, as women. We have sometimes to not be that shy, because I'm just repeating, we are trying now when we are adult, 20, 25, 30 years, to support the women, but we also have to support them to go to football, to basketball, and so on, to learn, to get in contact with other people. This is what men are learning. Women are not. They are going to ballet, they are riding the horse, painting, making whatever, but on their own. And this is why they are also funding or making a startup on their own, because they didn't learn this. And we can remind also in these networks that we have to start much earlier and to go to schools to support also the little women when they are not 80 years, but before, to create a good mindset.
And Alice, what do you think governments should be doing, you know, in terms of positive intervention? Or should they have positive intervention? Yes.
So as already now, we are making like we are having a position now. So we are meeting here to talk about these bullet points. This is one of the most important things, because now we are spreading. And I think government can spread also to other parts, not only here. Yeah. So in this digital way, we can also go to schools, to universities, and we are already doing so here in Wuppertal, for example. It's a cooperation, and they are supporting female entrepreneurs in science. So we are already doing that, but we have to spread it more and to go to agencies, to networks. And I think in 2 or 3 years, we will create something very good, a new kind of mindset. And also this, what Helle said, to be more sensitive for gender. Yeah, we have to talk to women in in another way. We have to take them a little calm, to build them up, and then they will walk.
Okay, great. Helle, again, the survey showed strong desire for government intervention, but if I recall correctly, in Denmark, there is no positive government intervention for female entrepreneurs. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, there are no programs directed at women only. So programs that are produced in Denmark address both men and women, which means that they actually do not pay attention to the special circumstances. So it's very much fix the women so that they'll act like the men, rather than fixing the system so that it will pay attention to the special needs of the women.
So the fault is with the women rather than the programs is
yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you know, what type of intervention, because you've studied this area quite a lot, and you know, what types of government intervention do you think should be brought in?
Oh, that's a very good question, but I think we need, well, first of all, they have to recognize the problem, right? And second of all, they have to start creating programs that cater to the women. So one of the issues in the report is also the finance. You know, we have a lot of finance for entrepreneurs in Denmark, but all statistics show that 95 or 98% of this finance goes to the men. And why does it do that? And it also shows that women actually don't apply. And there are various reasons for why women don't apply, but even when they apply, they don't get it, right? Mm-hmm. So one thing is to have a look at, is it the right way that we are actually going about offering these grants? Are we looking at the right things? Are the right people in the committees that decide on who is going to get the money? You know, what are the criteria that we impose on this, and so on and so forth. So that's definitely one road they could go down.
Yeah, because as you say in the report, it highlighted once again, because it's a regular theme of many reports, is that access to finance is a significant issue for women entrepreneurs. And I think some of it is based on, and according to the survey results, is kind of issues like a lack of self-confidence, but also issues like expectation of gender discrimination was arising. Yeah.
And also, I think women are actually a lot of times they require a different form of funding. Women go more for the soft funding, right, where they don't have, you know, you don't have to pay the money back, and that could be because women like to own their businesses themselves, right? They don't want to go for the venture capital because it means relinquishing part ownership. And if they do go for it, they also very often ask for less money than the men do. So maybe we should try to rethink the programs so that we cater to these needs, rather than saying, well, they have to fit in. You know, it's a little bit, you know, Cinderella's shoe. You know, you have to chop off the toe and the heel to make the shoe fit. You shouldn't have to.
Yeah, and actually, just on that, and colleagues watching, to share with you a story from Ireland. About 10 years ago, there was a recognition that in funding programs for growth-orientated businesses, that the number of applications by women-led businesses was extremely low. So they created a dedicated program targeted at women-led businesses. Pretty much the same type of program, but the promotion, the language, and kind of the orientation was shaped quite differently. And the number of applications was just enormous. And it's now in its 7th or 8th iteration and continues to be a huge success. Actually, people said the demand isn't there, but actually was there. It was just that it wasn't being presented in a way that women-led businesses, you know, kind of it wasn't attractive to women-led businesses. Alice, what are your thoughts on access to finance for women entrepreneurs? What are the challenges, and you know, why does it continue to be an issue?
Yeah, so I can tell that we had difficulties at the beginning because of 50% female in our team, and I know that when I'm talking to investors, to business angels, it's not a woman, it's a man. and the sympathy is there when a man is talking to a man. I really can feel that, because when I'm talking to the men, they are not in my generation, of course. They are in the generation 10 or 20 years or 30 years, and they have experienced another kind of women in their times. And now we are the next generation. So I think we are tough, we are smart, we can handle the challenge, but they did not get the experience when they have been in our age, and they are comparing me with their memories of other people in 20 years ago. And this is a difficulty that will be the next 10 years until this generation will become investors. So, of course, I think it's very important that the government is offering opportunities to make also like a network or a connection, so that the women know, okay, I can go to this person and she will support me, or this agency will support me. They know the right contacts who do also have the right mindset. And I think this will be a problem, also for the next few years, but only when women become investors. It's you can also read it. Women are giving their money also to women because they know and it's difficult. Yeah, it's not really, as you mentioned before, it's so difficult. They know they are not getting anything, so this is why they are not asking. And this is maybe also something for the government where they can really support us, because a good idea is great, a good team is great, but more important, we need the money with the funding. Otherwise, the startup can't grow. It's like food for the baby at the beginning.
Absolutely. Alice and Helle, I'm very conscious of time, so I'm on final question. As mentioned at the outset, at the first speaker, the results were very, from the respondents, spoke about being really positive about the future. Okay, and I was really surprised by how people saw potential growth in terms of growing the business and so forth. But I'm going to take in a comment here as well. Economic adversity is a known driver of women-led entrepreneurship. Even in stable economic periods, women are driven to entrepreneurship by marginalization from traditional career paths. And the WEbarometer results perhaps reflect economic necessity more than women's optimism about entrepreneurship in the current period. What are your thoughts? Optimism, necessity? What do you think it is? Alice, I'll start with you. The future, is it as bright as people were painting it, or are the results maybe a little optimistic?
I think it depends. First of all, it depends from your country. It depends also from the color of your skin. So it's the same. If you are a woman, then sometimes it's more difficult. Yeah, we are also having here different levels. The next thing is your family and your community. Are they supporting you? Because we can have a great government, we can have a great country, but if the mindset is very conservative and the family are not supporting the women and saying just marry a man, become a good mother, for example, then it's very difficult. And of course, these are challenges, these are emotional challenges. So I think we are looking into a good future, because we are already talking about these bullet points, very important bullet points in different conversations. And of course, it's very important that we are not too optimistic, because if we are too optimistic, then in every part, you are not looking at that problem anymore because you say it's solved. So of course, we have to stay focused, to observe, to be part of this change. Of this change, that it's not 15% anymore of female founders, that it becomes 50%. Yeah, and in the word, it's a small difference, 50-15, but in the numbers, it's a big difference. And this is why I think, yes, it's getting better, but we are at the beginning. We already did a little bit, but we are not on the top where we have to come to.
Very good, very good. Helle, closing comments to you.
Yeah, I think we still have a long way.
Positive.
We still have a long way to go, but I can see why the survey is optimistic. because I think that women have been really great at adapting to the challenges of COVID by going online. And I think also that there are a lot of women who have been given a voice through blogging that they are combining with a business. So I can definitely see that might be where the optimism is coming from. So women have been very good at adapting to this digital challenge and realized that there is a huge potential there that they can use for the future.
Very good, Helle. Thank you. Last night I was reading an article called "Hitting the She Start Button. Women entrepreneurs can lead the recovery." And I think the results of the survey would suggest that respondents were feeling pretty much the same way. My sincerest thanks to Helle and Alice for wonderful insights and comments. It's been a real pleasure talking with you. We could have kept the conversation going much longer, but obviously we're under time restrictions. So to Helle and Alice, thank you so much for a great conversation, and I hand back to our host. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you too.
And thank you, Helena.
Thank you so much, Thomas, Helle, Alice. There were so powerful statements that you made and so good insights. What I retain is, let's not fix women, but fix the system of government agencies having to become more gender sensitive. And let's get into dialogue and really listen to the needs of women. And I think the WEbarometer results, and I encourage everybody to have a look into that, get us some great insights in there. And thank you also for your open statements about women accessing finance. I think this is also motivating a lot of women entrepreneurs here to go for it, but also to ask for our needs, right? And to say, what do we need to actually also get the funding? Thank you so much. And I see already there's so much interaction as well in the chat of wanting to keep in touch. So I think this is only the beginning of the discussion. Thank you so much to all three of you.